When I was a kid, my older brother Dylan got his hands on a generic PS2 cheat code booklet. Skimming through the pages, I happened to glance at a game titled Max Payne. It sounded generic to me, but it wasn't until a year or so after that I got to witness him play it right before my very eyes. Max Payne 1 was a comic-themed action shooter set in the cold New York City landscape and had an overall gritty theme. It was about the life of Detective Max Payne, who had lost his wife and baby when a group of junkies broke into his home and murdered them. Since witnessing such a crushing fate, Max has slipped into the mindset of a man with nothing to lose, determined to find out who was behind his family's murder. The first game is super exciting, and I think a lot of you will remember playing it at an early age. There's no doubt that Max Payne has become a legend within the video game universe, with his metaphorical monologues and deep-rooted depression. Once the sequel came out, I stayed up almost every single night playing the shit out of it. This was also one of the first M-rated games I played that said fuck so much. As a kid, my parents would often ask me to mute the television so they didn't have to hear the fucking curse words. Personally, I think it's a very well-aged game fit with a decent challenge around every corner. I suppose we should start with the story of how we were once again thrown into the shoes of the most broken badass ever designed for this genre. This is the story of Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne.
God, I turned out to be such a damsel in distress.
They were all dead. Love kills. Did I love her? Was there a choice? The past is a gaping hole. You try to run from it. The more you run, the deeper, more terrible it grows behind you. Its edges yawning at your heels.
Much like the first game, Max Payne 2's charming theme comes into play during certain segments, like the creative comic-based cutscenes. Sure, if a game did this today, people would call it lazy, but for PlayStation 2 standards, I genuinely love watching the cutscenes and following along like an audiobook. A really unique style of storytelling that I think the third one was attempting to replicate, but it kind of just seemed annoying in that one. Anyways, let's begin. To throw off the player, Max's journey begins with him waking up in the hospital. Venturing further, he discovers the hospital staff have been killed. Someone is after him, and they're not exactly friendly.
I'll deal with Payne. He's as good as dead.
Freeze, NYPD! Found him.
If it isn't obvious at this point, the beginning is meant to throw you off and intrigue your mind with questions like, who the fuck is this lady that we just pinned against the wall? Who the fuck was that Winterson lady we almost shot? Who is this dead body on the table? Max isn't gonna pin her against the wall, is he? No, of course not. We flash back to present day. Max even cleverly says a false start as we go back to the night the case began at Vladimir Lem's weapons cache warehouse. Any pro knows this by now, but for anyone who's curious, you can find all sorts of secrets in the environment so long as you're willing to be patient and go through some annoying platforming. Eventually, Max bumps into a member of the Squeaky Cleaning Company who, I don't know, acts a little fucking weird.
Come on, officer, it's all legit. I work for the Squeaky Cleaning Company.
You didn't hear anything suspicious just now?
No. Oh, wait! You mean the gun workshop upstairs?
Take me there. Move.
Sure, officer, if that's what you want.
Walt, I don't know, man. You've been seeming sus lately.
Turns out he's a fraud. The cleaners are an unknown group of mercenaries in disguise. I'm gonna go on a bit of a tangent here for a second, because I have to discuss the enemies you'll encounter in Max Payne. Nothing much changes about them. It's not like there's a surprise mission where there's a bunch of fucking zombies or something, but the enemies are iconic due to one thing. They're hilarious. These goofballs act like rent-a-thugs that even Tony Soprano would find lame.
Pisses me off more than anything when they do that. It's an insult. That's what it is. We're trying to clean the place. They should have more sense than to bleed on the floor.
That's the ticket. We should find a way to kill them without spilling any blood.
Their quotes, their ridiculous banter, and even their death screams are just straight up silly. The ragdoll physics in Max Payne 2, even after all these years, continue to make me laugh away. Not to mention the goofy side characters you'll meet throughout the apartment blocks, like the homeless guy who just mumbles nonsense, or the super cliche sexy woman in the lobby. They can assist you during your escape from the cleaners. The mobsters are much of the same thing, but I'll talk about them in a minute. Right now, I want to talk about Vlad. Vladimir Lem was a character from the first game that had a brief appearance, but it was implied at the time that Vlad and Max were friends, if not acquaintances. Before Max leaves the weapons cache facility, he meets a familiar face, another returning character from the first game that he swore had died. Mona Sachs. Confused as to why Mona is even still breathing, Max pays a visit to Vladimir Lem in hopes to find information about her. But when he arrives, Max discovers Vlad is actually being attacked by mobsters. This mission can be tough, but with Mike the cowboy at your side, it should be alright. After saving Vlad's life from the mobsters and Vinny Gognitti, who is also a returning character from the first game, Max and Vlad have a discussion, but Max can't help but feel weird towards Vlad, his so-called friend.
What was it you did for a living again?
Scout's honor, detective. I have mended my ways, evolved to a higher level. Vodka will be the best restaurant in the city. I'll be rich and famous.
You hurt your hand just now?
A hot date yesterday. Can I tempt you?
Let's pretend I'm on duty.
I should also talk about Max's dream segments. In the first game, they were terrifying, with haunting, blood-curdling screams for the ambiance, a bell toll going off every few seconds, and a thin red line that Max had to balance across. Really strange shit. In Max Payne 2, the dream sequences are still creepy, but have been toned down since the first game. There's nothing that will legitimately scare you here, besides maybe the television show known as Address Unknown. Max awakens from his nightmare only to find Mona has come to warn him. Apparently, the two of them are in danger, but Max wants more information than that. A sniper appears to disrupt the conversation, and Mona takes off. The apartments are pretty silly. The idea of a grown man running through other people's homes unannounced is just so funny to me. There's an elderly lady who offers you a shotgun after she blasts some poor fuck to Kingdom Come.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Then there's this absolute dunce that just spouts nonsense and appears oblivious to everything that's going on. Still though, I can't help but love her. You don't get to see these side characters very often today. They didn't even have to incorporate these goofballs that just sit and complain all day in the peaceful confines of their apartments. They went that little extra mile, and to me it still holds up.
I remember Sunday breeze in the countryside with my Ben. Or was that something I saw on TV? Oh, it stung me. Lousy bee.
After escaping from the apartments, you manage to track Mona down to the inside of a fun house. It's more like a madhouse. This place gave me the creeps as a kid. The incredibly uncomfortable dialogue from the speakers and visual effects don't really mix too well after this time, but it's one of those moments you had to witness as a young kid to understand. It freaked me out a bit. Then, Rockstar teases both Max and the player by showing Mona's side boob. Jeez, that's quite an introduction. The two of them decide to get some answers from Mona's contact, Corcoran, who is believed to be involved with the Inner Circle, which is basically the Continental from John Wick, led by a man named Alfred Woden. It doesn't go as planned though. The guy ends up dead thanks to the squeaky fuckers, so Max attempts to escape, only to be caught by his own police force. Damn.
Payne, what are you doing? What are you doing?
The million-dollar question I didn't have the answer to.
This is when we get to explore the police station a little bit and mess around with the people inside. It doesn't do much and has no real value in the long run, but it's still pretty silly.
Hey, we're watching that.
And now, Lords and Ladies continues.
Get up, hey. We were watching that, asshole.
Max gets word that Mona is being held in the lineup, where she is fingered as a culprit. She's taken to lockup, where Max questions her judgment and underlies some sort of emotions deep within himself. He obviously cares a lot about Mona and doesn't want her to get hurt or killed. Very often they tease each other throughout the story in a passive-aggressive manner, with Max trying to focus on the case and solving it, but being too distracted by a woman he swore died in front of him. Most important of all, a woman he loved. The tension between these two is higher than I am every Saturday afternoon. Suddenly, the police station is attacked and the cleaners arrive once again to finish the job by killing Max and Mona. Max winds up at the main headquarters of the cleaner crew after jumping into one of their vans. Once he arrives, he discovers just how large of an operation the cleaners have, with seemingly unlimited ammo boxes and explosive cases. Not to mention the building is in complete disarray due to the construction going on. Another superb action segment, but then things escalate once the explosives within the building are set off, initiating an imminent collapse. With no other option, Max heroically jumps out of the window and falls from a scaffolding. This is when the gameplay is suddenly switched. Now we're put in the boots of Mona Sachs, the femme fatale of our story. Using her iconic Dragunov sniper rifle and the fact that she's faster than Max is, I can't lie, I had a lot more fun playing as Mona. Her dodge moves are uniquely animated, she has hilarious ragdoll physics, and she kicks ass. We can actually see the exact moment when Max leaps out of the building. Don't worry, Max, I'll save you! Maybe shooting him isn't the best idea, considering this next tedious segment. You have to guide Max all across the construction yard, but almost every single door he goes to is locked. This leads to lots of running around the construction site, murdering the next wave of assholes that try to come up in your ass, and find the sniper that has Max pinned down. Once all is said and done, the cleaners begin to evacuate the site. Max and Mona reunite, but... Whoa, wait, what? Winterson? What's she doing here?
Stay out of this, Max. You're only making it worse. You've been suspended.
She's one of them. She's here to kill me.
I'm doing my duty. She is a fugitive murder suspect. I'm taking her in. She resists, she gets shot.
Easy.
Back off, Payne.
As it turns out, Winterson is a crooked cop who's in love with Vladimir Lem, who hates Mona Sachs. Oh wow, what a twist. Just in case I didn't say it before, Mona is the lead suspect for the murder of Senator Gate, a case that Winterson was assigned to. Knowing that Max and Mona have history, she verbally warns Max early on in the game that he should keep his nose out of it. Unaware of how exactly Mona Sachs resurrected herself, Max couldn't help but become emotionally attached to her all over again. You can hear it directly in his voice when he tries to defuse the situation.
Firing a gun is a binary choice. You either pull the trigger or you don't.
Stop. Stop. Wait.
It's fruitless. Winterson has her mind set on pulling the trigger and putting an end to her case, ultimately stepping up in her career. Despite his efforts to calm both of them down, Max fails to get them to talk peacefully. Winterson releases the safety on her gun, and then this. Max shot her in order to protect Mona. Throughout the entire game, they play on the theme of love being a dark and abysmal emotion, something that pushes you to the edge just to achieve even a smidgen of it. This was Max's edge. It was official. He loved Mona, and he would rather let a supposed good cop die than let the love of his life go again. Call it selfish, but I think if we were in Max's shoes, we probably wouldn't have had any other option. Suddenly, Winterson shoots back and Max falls off the scaffolding yet again. With 2 bullets in him, he's hanging on by a thread. The next dream sequence is really creepy. Max walks past different versions of himself that represent some deep-rooted anger, depression, insanity, dark thoughts that he's held onto somewhere in his subconscious. He feels caged within himself, trapped by his past. Once the dream is over, we continue right where we left off. Here, Max doesn't have a gun. The only option is to run from this asshole while he shouts threats and other stupid shit at you.
You're gonna get it now. How stupid can you get? You were safe in there, you stupid fuck. I'm coming for you.
Then once the security guard breaks into the hospital office, you can pick up his gun and defend yourself. Max has a lot of balls to be fighting this much and this long, especially after getting shot twice. Okay, so some of my footage got deleted, so unfortunately there's a couple of clips missing, but what happens here, to sum it up, Max visits Alfred Woden. Woden tells him that Vlad is the one who betrayed him and wants him dead. Vlad is also the owner of the Squeaky Cleaning Company, the mercenaries that Max had to deal with in the beginning. With this in mind, Max decides to knuckle up and take a personal trip to Vlad's restaurant, Vodka. You trash the fucking place, kill his men. Turns out, Vlad was never here. In his office, there's a whiteboard drawing of the Captain Baseball Bat Boy with some strange map. It turns out Vlad has been tracking Vinny Gognitti. Max races over to Vinny's place, only to be cut off and interrupted by a literal mob war taking place within the streets. He even gets mistaken as a mobster and can briefly assist these goofballs with killing some cleaners. Once he gets there, we find out Vlad has trapped Vinny in the same costume we saw on the whiteboard, only it's fit with an explosive charge that could go off to any slight incorrect movement. What this means is, Max has to play guard dog for Vinny as he tries to help him escape. As a kid, I found myself severely upset during this entire segment, and if you grew up with this game in your library, you'll understand. It only takes a second for a guard to sneak up on Vinny and light him up. Once he dies, the bomb explodes and Max dies with him. You'll have to do a lot of preparation, master where the enemies bum rush you from, and slam the F5 key until you no longer forget to press it. Eventually, Max ends up escaping the cleaners and makes it to the funhouse. He even says he was desperate enough to search for Mona there. Sadly, the only person waiting for him is Vlad.
Drop your gun, or the bomb goes.
I had a bomb ticking in my head. No amount of painkillers would disable it.
We then take control of Mona again in order to save Max from the burning building. There's no enemies during this part, no music either, just the sounds of explosions, fire, and overall destruction. Another great scene in my opinion. She finds Max in a pool of blood. Seeing the main character badly beaten this late into the game can only mean one thing. The job is not over. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, to be honest, but I don't necessarily think it has to. What happens is Vlad shoots Max, point blank, with a Desert Eagle. The bullet hits Max directly in the head, he falls over, and is left to burn away after Vinny's bomb is detonated downstairs. This is Max's final dream sequence. He also chases himself in a really meta style, constantly shooting at his own reflection and being thrown into a maze that his mind created for him. When he awakens, Max is determined to finish Vlad and end the nightmares he caused him.
You okay?
Vlad was headed to Woden's manor.
Don't be stupid. You're not in shape to go anywhere. You'll die.
I don't care.
This isn't your fight, Max. You can walk away. I'm asking you.
I didn't deserve to walk away. There are no happy endings. You're coming with me. It was too late. I couldn't trust her. Not before I had seen this through.
Now you might be wondering, how the fuck did Max survive a 50 caliber Action Express bullet to the skull and suffer no permanent damage? Lots of fans say it only grazed him, but that would mean that Vladimir Lem is an absolute horrid shot and couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn. Either way, it's pretty cheesy, but as a kid I was all for it. I praised the hell out of the fact that Max could take a bullet to the head and joke about it the next day. The final mission of the game takes place at the manor where Alfred Woden lives. With Vlad hot on his trails, it's only a matter of time before they kill him. This is the hardest and most intense segment of the game. There are mercenaries in every fucking direction within the manor. They're above, below, to the left, to the right, they're fucking everywhere. You'll have to milk the bullet time a little bit here if you're low on painkillers. Once the way is clear to Woden's, Max discovers that Mona knows her way around the manor, meaning she has been working with Woden all along. The inner circle, the men trying to kill Max, she was also a part of it. She knocks Max down in the cutscene, but can't bring herself to kill him.
I told you not to come here. It's my job to clear up this mess, and you're a part of it. Throw away your guns. See? I can't do it. You're a bastard, Max.
This is love. Love hurts.
It's shocking, and Max's description of the events perfectly sums up his loss. Max let his love for Mona get the better of him. It took control of his job, his life, his actions. He was bent on finding Mona to seek the answers to the questions floating in his head after all this time. He knew he couldn't trust her, but he also knew that he wanted her for the rest of his life. The quote, "love hurts," is how I would perfectly sum up this game, and that's how Max sums it up. Mona's love for Max proves to be an obstacle as she can't bring herself to kill him for Woden. Winterson also died doing what she thought was right, a selfless act of love in the face of murder, and Vlad only loves himself, showing his greedy, egotistical smile in almost every cutscene. Amazing that a game this old was able to stretch that theme in different personalities and ways, but it works so damn well. Woden goes to attack Vlad, or I don't know, he goes to kiss him on the lips, I guess? It definitely doesn't look like he's trying to fight him.
It's better to reign in hell than serve in heaven.
You flatter yourself.
Demented fool!
Anyways, Woden dies and Max has just one last nut to crack, Vladimir Lem. With quite literally nothing to lose at this point, Max charges guns blazing after his nemesis. The fight itself can be completed pretty quickly if you know what to do. Just shoot the orange things in the ceiling until it comes down fully, then get ready to shoot the fuck out of Vlad.
You thought you got me there, Max, didn't you? Ah! That was... Max, dearest of all my friends, I was supposed to be the hero.
Once he's dead, the ceiling caves in and we get an epic closing shot of Adam and Eve both reaching for the forbidden tree, only I think it was meant to appear on fire here. Very great cinematography in my opinion.
past is a gaping hole. Your only chance is to turn around and face it. But it's like kissing the lips of your dead love. Darkness waiting in the hole of your mouth.
And that, ladies and gents, is Max Payne 2, a story-based game full of heartbreaking news and rewarding gameplay. It's a classic, and always will be. It demonstrates the idea of losing a loved one, how dark someone's mind can become when they make a hasty decision for the sake of someone they genuinely care about. And Max Payne taught me that it's okay to grieve, but death is inevitable, and we should always be there for those who matter most. Because love hurts, but loneliness kills. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I was really happy to talk about Max Payne 2, and after beating it again, I still can't help but say it's one of my favorites. The action, the serious moments, the not-so-serious moments, the funny dialogue, Max's internal monologue. It's all the perfect blend of a crime drama put into a video game. Rockstar was way ahead of their time with this, and I can only hope someday we'll see more of Max Payne and his superb character arc. And fuck, give the guy a wife already. Jesus Christ. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to our channel, and thanks for checking out this video. Leave a like, comment, and since we're on the subject, enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching the content, folks.
It's a late goodbye.
Hey, hey! Okay.
You stay here.
Okay. In our headlight.